Welcome to Charlie's Toolbox, a podcast for women building sovereign, self-led lives. Here, we explore how art, fashion, media, and mindset become tools for power, clarity, and creative direction. This isn't self-help. This is cultural strategy for women who lead themselves.
Welcome to Charlie's Toolbox. We are absolutely thrilled to welcome you to our podcast, a dedicated space for visionary women who have truly chosen themselves and are now ready to create something bigger. So today we are going to delve into how extraordinary women navigate life's challenges and changes. And one woman I thought would be a great person to discuss this with is Davenport. Davenport is a beauty and fashion creator, school administrator, and mom who explores how personal style can be a form of rebellion, confidence, and self-reclamation, especially for women navigating motherhood, identity shifts, and the pressure to have it all together. Through honest storytelling and intentional style, Kay uses her platform to explore what it means to still choose yourself even when life gets loud. Welcome, Kay.
Hi.
Yes, I am so excited to have you here. So I kind of want to just get into it. I have some questions and I'm excited for this to be a very explorative conversation. So, Kay, becoming a mother often redefines a woman's sense of self. And can you describe a specific aha moment or a profound realization where your personal style, your personal identity as a woman distinctly shift because of motherhood? And what did that feel like in your core?
Oh, yeah. I will say, I think I got the realization before I even gave birth. Being pregnant with twins was probably the hardest thing I have ever done.
Mm.
And, now that childbirth is over and they're turning 6 years old and, I'm finding my way. I now say it with much more pride than I used to, but I got that realization early because I didn't have the glamorous pregnancy I thought I was going to have. Things got ugly fast. I mean, physically. So while I thank God that I had a healthy pregnancy, my body was not my own. And as a Libra who is so used to being in control and of the things that I know I can control, this was one big event in my life that I had no control over, and I literally had to surrender my body. And I would say in that moment or during that time, all I had was my mental capacity. And I think that that is what carried me through such a grueling pregnancy, such a physically demanding pregnancy. And I feel like pregnancy is what made my mind much sharper. I had to surrender and I had to go off the grid because I was literally taking it hour by hour trying to make it through. It was just so painful for me. So I remember having to just remind myself, I had to do a lot of self talk. I had to remind myself that women have been doing this since the beginning of time. You can do this. Women have been doing this since the beginning of time. And so it was in that moment that I became so much more mentally stronger at a time that physically I just had to surrender. And that was my first dose of motherhood. And then I would say my second lesson um, was right when I had a C-section, and right after they pulled those babies out, they pulled my IV out. They immediately put the babies in my arms. Immediately.
Oh, wow.
I was in my mind thinking I'm gonna go to the recovery room and I'm gonna rest
Right.
a little bit. Two humans were just detached from me. This is a life event. I'm gonna get to rest for an hour or so. No, they put them in my arms and I remember shaking from the anesthesia. And I was like, no, I can't hold them. I'm going to drop them. And I remember the nurse saying, you are not going to drop these babies. And they were literally, I feel like I was a mother before they even took their first breath outside the womb because
Oh,
I
wow.
had to surrender everything. It was no longer about me. It was about seeing this pregnancy through and getting my babies out. And before I could really wrap my head around what just happened to me in the last 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
they were already in my arms, needing me, crying. They were putting the boob in the mouth. I was like, oh, wait, hold up. Wait, this is happening so fast. Like
Right.
I don't get a second. I don't get a second. I remember, Charlie, they had pulled the IV out.
They said, "Welcome to reality." Right. 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 No, that's a powerful realization. And just kind of makes me think about like that question of what it feels like to be needed when you need yourself. How did you do that balance? I know that's probably something that's ever evolving, but what does that look like? Because there's a lot of listeners who are career women and they are interested in motherhood, and they want to know, what it is, how people balance, how do they feel this out. Can you describe what that looks like?
One question, Charlie, real quick. My computer, for some reason, like went out while you were asking that question. Can you
Okay,
re-ask that question for me?
sure.
Okay.
So uh well, I will say,
Only caught the tail end.
okay, no worries. um So there's this phrase that you use towards the end of your answer that I really
Hmm.
loved. And you said, um, this is the first time you ever felt needed by something other than yourself. Like you need you, but your kids, your
Hmm.
twins, they need you as well.
Hmm.
And so our listeners, they're career women. They want to be mothers. They are trying to figure out how to plan for this or just to wrap their head around it.
Hmm.
What can you offer as in terms of advice or just kind of walking through the feeling of balancing that out? Because to me, I feel like that sounds a little shocking to the system,
Hmm.
but I
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
there's a way to kind of feel that out.
That's
And I'd love
exactly
to
what it
know
is.
what that is.
That's exactly what it is. It's shocking to the system, both emotionally,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
mentally, and physically. And the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I can say is that you are going to have to let go. You're going to have to let
Okay.
go of everything that you think should be, would be, will be. And you have to just enjoy that journey and the path.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. Because that journey to motherhood, while it is hard, it is beautiful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say beautiful, I say like the cliche term, almost like a beautiful disaster, as in like you go through the mud really trying to figure out what it is. Who am I
Mm-hmm.
as I'm preparing to be a mom? What are my kids going to be like? Am I doing this right? Am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing? Or, doctors are talking about things I don't understand. It's a lot. And really all
Right.
you have to do is let go and just go through it and just know that that journey is helping you peel back layers, and then you have to embrace the new version of yourself after. Because I think what we do as women and mothers and expecting moms is that we kind of have this vision in our mind, and some of it
Mm-hmm.
comes from society. We have this vision in our heads of what it should look like or what it might feel like, when really, if you are a first time mom, you don't know. You know nothing about this.
Right.
There's not a Pinterest article. There's not a podcast. There's not a book. There's not a nothing that can prepare you for your personal journey.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing that I'll say actually has nothing to do with like pregnancy or motherhood. It has everything to do with self. It's
Mm-hmm.
like one thing that helped me, like I told you, was a lot of that self talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this is the time to really start leaning into those affirmations and really starting to treat yourself as well as you can. So
Right.
if for some people it's spa dates, for some people it's a candlelit bath every night. But so whatever the thing is that pours into you, for some people it's reading their scripture, it's journaling. Do those things because you are going to need that more than ever from the time that you are pregnant and expecting until them kids no longer need you. Like you will be forever trying to perfect the art of taking care of yourself. Because I remember one thing I used to tell my husband in preparation was like, I'm really worried about us, and that was like subtle foreshadowing. I was like, I'm really worried about us because I feel like the babies will always be taken care of. Like they'll always have their needs met. But will
Right.
we always take care of ourselves? Like we always put ourselves on the back burner. And so like keeping that in the forefront of like taking care of yourself. That's just it.
Right.
That's all, because that's literally all you got control of in that process.
Right.
So just take
Right.
care of yourself as much as you can. Don't deprive yourself of any love, joy, or happiness. And I'm not talking about things. I'm not saying collect things,
Right.
but whatever it is that helps you, that sparks joy for you, that helps fill you up or just makes you smile, you got to multiply that as much as possible
I
and get
like
and
that.
start practicing that immediately, because then it'll become just innate and a part of who you are after the babies come.
Right. And it kind of sounds like a boundary, to be honest.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is something I need to pour into my cup in order to pour into others.
Yep.
And this is how I'm going to do that. And
Yep.
so that's a really important thing that we all have to just kind of cultivate within ourselves, but especially like you said, during motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about your journey is that not only are you a mother, you're in executive leadership and you're an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And that third part, that feels
Mm.
like adding a whole new person to your life.
All girl, all of it spells crackhead. Everybody be like, how do you? I be like, I'm a crackhead. Like I feel like I don't know what it is about me, and I guess I'm starting to unpack this a bit. But that being an ambitious woman, like
Mm-hmm.
it's in you, and you can't help it. But then sometimes you girl boss too hard, like, and you just go too hard. And I
Yes.
seriously feel like that's just the one part. If I could change, I rarely have regrets, only lessons. But if there was one thing that I could tell myself when I was like in college, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
was to stop trying to do the thing that you're supposed to do. Like, when you
Okay.
buy with like that whole trajectory the older generation puts
Right.
on us, like
Right.
first you get you get a good paying job working for
Job.
somebody.
Yep.
And then you go get your own place, and then you buy your first house, and then you do this, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start your family.
Mm-hmm.
Doing all of what everybody tells you you're supposed to do. So I was following this, I want to be this idea of success that I saw other Black women ahead of me do, and not many of them were
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so instead of trying to define my own idea of success, because 36-year-old Kanisha feels like success has absolutely nothing to do with my salary. It actually has absolutely nothing to do with the title or status. It has my measure of success now is like, how did I feel at the end of my day? Is my cup
Mm-hmm.
empty? Do I feel depleted?
Right.
Or do I still feel like I have something to give my family? Did I feel fulfilled today? Did I feel joy today? Am I
Mm-hmm.
rested? Did I spend time with God today? Like, and those were things I just didn't think about. It was just always like hustle, hustle, hustle. And so, yeah, I don't know how all of this happened, but I will say that now that we are here, I am definitely recalibrating and helping other people around me realize, like, I know what you see on the outside is one thing. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is something I try to get across on my platform, is that like nothing is perfect about me but them pictures. Okay. It is a messy road to success. And I'm not here to glamorize or romanticize what any of this looks like. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. It's actually very grueling, and it's actually very difficult. And there's something about me that, like, when things start getting a little mundane or a little boring, something in my brain says, let's get complicated. Not just,
Let's bring some mess into this.
yeah,
Let's
let's go achieve something new.
like I'm stressed. Let me add another layer. I want to see
Yes,
how, if I can balance that.
right. Like, I went back to grad school simply because, well, I was a first generation college graduate, and
Same.
simply because that feeling of walking across the
Hmm.
stage was like, oh, that feeling. I would give anything to feel that feeling again. I went back to grad school
Hmm.
just to walk across the stage again. Literally just to walk
Hmm.
across the stage again. And now I'm fighting not to pay student loans, but that's another story.
Look, I feel you on that. And and it's funny that you bring that up because like a lot of what this new, era for Charlie's Toolbox, a lot of what we are talking about is values.
Mm-hmm.
And like your people don't understand that your values are going to change over time.
Oh
It
yeah.
can be one thing when you're in your 20s, it could be one thing when you're in 30s, 35 to 36, 36 to 37.
Yeah.
It could change every year, every
Yep.
month, every quarter. It is just ever evolving. And to
And we have
me,
to stop resisting it though,
right,
and embrace that.
right.
I tell people all the time, tomorrow if you want to wake up and decide, I don't subscribe to that anymore. I want to rebrand today, and I want to. Now
Mm-hmm.
I have a different way of thinking, and maybe the people around you haven't caught up yet. But if that's what you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, don't resist the change.
And so when you are thinking about like this change and you're feeling your values change, you're feeling
Hmm.
your definitions of success and these things that are changing, what is your internal dialogue? Like what is going on in that time to make you be okay with it? Because sometimes people are not okay with it. And there may needs to be like an affirmation, a
Hmm.
conversation. Like what is it that you're like, okay, I can flow with this instead of resisting it?
It's gonna sound like a rap lyric, but I swear this is. But I swear this is what I say to myself. It's like literally like I'm the star of this show. I drive this bus. This is my life.
Right,
Like, I
right.
came in this world alone and I'm gonna leave alone. So
Mm-hmm.
how I spend my time on this earth has to be meaningful, and I'm the person that adds that meaning. You know what I mean? Like, God gave us a page and I add the color. So it's just like, if I'm the one doing the choosing.
Right,
And
right.
and to me that makes me feel powerful.
I
And
like that.
so, and part of it was like when I, had kids and I felt like I was just giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, I found myself on the end where, like, okay, I got this empty cup thinking, somebody's going to pour back into mine. And it doesn't work that way. I read this thing one day that said, like, giving your children a happy mother is your job. Like, that's
Mm,
nobody else's job but yours.
mm-hmm.
So, like, when people talk about relationships and things making them happy, that's an internal thing. You're responsible for that. Other things around you can enhance that happiness. But I say all the time, like, if my platform blew up, if I lost my job, if I lost my career, whatever, if I had to start all over, I still would have some spark of happiness and joy within me, because there's something there that, like, nothing else can penetrate or take away from me. But like, I just keep in mind that it all starts with me.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with me. I can look at it like, damn, I have to, or I can look at it like, you know what, I get to do such and such today. It's all about reframing your mind and reframing your thinking. And I feel like once you can rewire your brain, I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work in conscious discipline and brain science because of my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that, like, once you've learned to rewire your brain and control your thought, you're unstoppable.
Right.
So,
Because
like,
that's usually what get in the way.
exactly, things are going to happen around you. You might as well wake up knowing it might be a flat tire waiting on me. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna spill my coffee on
Right.
my white blouse. The kids are gonna have a meltdown, and I'm gonna be late for work. Like, all the things are gonna happen the moment your feet touch
Mm-hmm.
the ground in the morning. You have no control over that, but you do have control over how much power you give each thing. And so I know it sounds cliche and I know it sounds lofty, but that's the way I keep my mind in check. Is realizing
Yeah.
like I am in control and the things around me don't control me. And the moment that I start to lose my composure or I start crashing out and going off on the deep end, it is because I am letting the things around me have the power and I'm choosing to give my power away. So I just
Right.
have to keep in mind that like I drive this ship. This is my life. And what I
A-
say goes.
And
And
does that
that's
help?
just how I think about it.
Yeah. Does that help, like that mindset? Because I know I hear a lot of women talking about they're missing pieces of their pre-mom self or their pre-entrepreneur self. Like there's these pieces that they feel have been lost. Does that mindset help kind of alleviate that yearning a bit?
So I just had
Or I
to
could be
learn.
wrong.
I had to learn to just, especially the pre-mom self for sure.
Hmm.
I had to learn to grieve the old me.
Okay.
Um, and if the more we're holding on to old parts of ourselves, and those parts may have been great, those phases may have been amazing. But I will tell you this, and I bet every dollar I'll ever make for the rest of my life that pre-mom K ain't got nothing on mom K. Like, as in, I'm so sure of myself now.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I'm so sure of myself now. Like, I think women should find their power in whatever the thing is that you have. You're an entrepreneur. You're doing something most people never have done, never will do.
Hmm.
Right? And then
Right.
your mom. Uh hello, you gave life, child. You go.
Right.
Like
Right.
you gave life. You know what I mean? So
Right.
so I kind of find my power in that. And that's where I find my confidence. And so I had to grieve my old self because I have to make room for the new parts. I'm gonna
Right.
forever be resentful or I'm gonna forever be sad about what has gone, that I have lost sight of what is coming to me.
Mm.
And, I don't know how spiritual everybody else is, but, for me, I think of it like everything God takes away, he replaces with something new.
Hmm.
Or you can't invite abundance in your life holding on to old things.
Right.
And we are so quick to, I think people are used to letting go of physical things, like they're learning to let go of physical things. And I think now we're coming around to learning how to have boundaries with relationships and people. And we can,
Hmm.
somewhat let certain people and relationships go that no longer serve us or do us harm. But we don't do that. We don't do those self audits of our
Right.
own behaviors and habits and thoughts and mindsets that could be holding us back from the new things that are coming to us, you know?
Right.
So like
And
hustle Kay, I had to let her go because I want to be rested, Kay. I want
yeah.
to be rested and paid. Well, I can be both. I can be
Right.
both.
Right.
You know?
You have to open room for
Yes.
this new person.
Yes.
Did that come so like a lot of conversations we've had with my community is kind of bridging our interchanges with like our external expression. So, when
Hmm.
you feel different, the first thing you go do is cut your hair or you dye your hair, you get,
Yeah.
hair
Oh,
extensions
that's
or
a good
something like
point.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious to know that if people mark their changes or transitions into different stages, do you mark that with a different type of style, or do you refine it? Are you more confident in your style and so you lean into it? Like, explain that to me. Have you changed your
Oh,
external
yes.
expression? Okay.
Yes, yes. Actually, what's interesting is so I've always been like a fly girl. I've always
Hmm.
been into my hair and I just was kind of raised that way. I just always
Right.
take pride in my appearance. And so I actually think that the shift in my mindset helped me have more confidence to lean into new style and a new
Hmm.
exterior. And I feel like it's something powerful about reinventing yourself in that way.
Right.
Um, so like the steady involvement, I think that is powerful. Also, I use my style and how I show up physically in the world as like my rebellion, as you kind of said earlier. Like
Hmm.
the world has so much to say about what a woman should do, look like, act like, what you're a
Right.
mom, what you should be like as a mom. and mom. I used to say things like mom style. What the hell is that? Style.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? Like
mm-hmm.
being a mom is not the only thing I have going for me or a part of me. You know what I mean? Which is
Right.
why,
And what does a
you know,
mom look like? You
right,
know, like
right. So I feel like my style and being, deciding to switch my hair or deciding to, go for a different aesthetic or, I literally change it seasonally. Like this spring, I'm going for, a little Hillary Banks meets Mary J. Blige. I don't know. But like it is my way. It's my
you're
way
too
of like
funny.
I just want to keep people on their toes, meaning like, especially now, there's so much to say about women's rights, what women should do, what we can't do. But what you
Mm-hmm.
can't say is how I show up and what I look like, how I think, what I say. Like those things I'm in control of, and I want to do it as loudly and proudly as I want. And so, whatever that thing is, I feel like my style is the way I say, like, I'm doing what I want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's a way of like showing the people and the men who have so much to say about women. I mean, because women, we also get so much backlash from other women. There's this thing on social media that me and my friends were
Right.
talking about if you want to dress modest, this is how if you want to be classy, you should just, if you, I'm like, what is that?
Right.
No,
According, yeah.
no, no, right. So
According
it's
to
like,
who, you know?
exactly, I'm showing up how I want to because that's my right. So I'm gonna do that as many times and as often as I want. And the moment you get used to springtime K, poof, here comes summertime K, brand new woman. Like shit, it's all brand new. It's all brand new. It didn't look like it did before. So it's just a way that I feel like I can maintain my power.
Right. I like that a lot. Um, and it's funny that you say there's this kind of way that people police people online,
Mm-hmm.
especially mothers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always coming from like, yeah, it's coming. I don't know how to articulate it, but I always notice that there's like it's this weird policing thing that I'm not sure. I feel like we're on the wrong path with
Yes.
that.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I'm
Completely
like,
agree
I'm
with that.
not sure how to articulate it, but I feel like we're going the wrong direction with policing motherhood and being so critical because mothers are already policed already, like just off rip.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna automatically have a lot of pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and people are gonna tell you how you should do things, how you should
Mm-hmm.
dress,
Yep.
but then you have the extra layer of social media on top of
Mm-hmm.
that. And that kind of brings me to your platform. And I asked this before, but I really wanted to kind of dig into that. When you are in such a public space, how are you ensuring that you are creating boundaries, public boundaries, so that people don't get too comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
doing that to you?
So, um, remember what I said about like this is my ship, this is my bus, I
Right.
drive it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
is that mindset for me, meaning like I used to be a person, and I think many women are like this because we're raised and we're criticized even by our own
Mm-hmm.
moms, or like
Right.
we're criticized or taught to be so humble and all these other things that I um I still leave with the mindset of because I said so. Because I said so.
Right. Right.
Like I talk to women all the time. It's like, well, what if people think that? So what? Like literally,
Right.
that's how you kind of got to have this little cocky attitude about it. And I don't mean cocky in a way that I'm better than anybody else, but as in I get to decide how I show up in
Mm-hmm.
any space or place that I go to. So if that's social media and I'm deciding, I don't want my family and my friends and too much of my personal life that's not just me. I don't want all of that open up for speculation because at the moment you
Mm-hmm.
put it out on the platform, it's open for criticism. And
Yep.
I know I sound very mature, but I still got a cussing spirit on me. So like I still be ready to clap back, like, so if I learned early that even down to how I express myself, what I decide to express, some things are for my group chat. Some things
Right.
are for my kickback, my roundtable conversation. Some things are for the podcast. Some things are for my newsletter. Some things are for my interviews. So like when I get personal like this and very vulnerable and transparent, that's for my long form. That's because that
Mm-hmm.
purpose is for me to connect. But when I'm
Right.
making videos, about my style and confidence, if I don't want it open for criticism, because the way social media is and the way media is in general, they will take a 3-second soundbite, and before they listen to the other 15 seconds of what you got to say, they already in the comments, beating you down.
Right.
So if I don't want it open for criticism, and then I don't put it out there. And I've definitely had some missteps. I've definitely had some post and deletes. I've definitely had some clapbacks that I had to go back and delete and just decide to block people. But that it my if I don't want to, if I don't want to share it, I don't. So like postpartum, I had a weight loss journey, and I'm fine sharing this here because it's been years
Mm-hmm.
ago. But like I had weight loss surgery, and that was something. This is the first time I ever even said it out loud publicly. My
Mm-hmm.
friends and family knew about it, but I wasn't the
Right.
person that was documenting my journey, and because everything is not for everybody. And
Right.
some parts of my journey are sacred. And my weight loss postpartum was closely tied to my postpartum depression. I
Mm.
also don't love sharing things while they are in progress sometimes.
Right. Right. You don't
Not
want
that
the
I'm
wrong
scared,
energy.
not that I'm scared to fail because I'm not worried about that. But yes, I don't need to invite everybody's opinions and criticism and all. I don't need all of that noise while I'm setting out to do something. So I never posted about that because I'm not an expert in that. And I don't want to answer your
Mm-hmm.
questions about that. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to start having conversations about that. This here platform is about how I'm rebuilding my confidence, how I am, seeking out and amplifying other parts of my identity, not just centering myself around motherhood or being a wife or even having a career. And so it was about that, and I wanted to keep that the focus. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't want to, I don't. And I think that people on the internet or people who have a platform feel like they owe everybody all parts of this story. You can be vulnerable, you can be transparent, and you can be authentic and still keep your business your business.
Right. And you know what's funny? We are like, I've been on social and I'm kind of introducing this concept of like self culture. And when
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to you talk, like your attitude, perspective, how you shape your inner world and your external world is a great example of self culture.
Oh wow, thank
Because I said so is that is a perfect
you.
That's perfect. That's because I said so. I don't want to. Those are perfect like phrases for this idea of like making sure your inner world is what you want it to be
Mm-hmm.
and applying that to every aspect of your life. You do it
Mm-hmm.
with your platform, your goals, how you want your family to be ran, how you want to engage with your kids, like your style, all of these things kind of revolve around those statements. And so like I appreciate you kind of highlighting that idea of like you run the ship and this is
Yeah,
how it's going to be ran.
yeah, yeah. I think we are so, and because my career is in coaching and managing people,
Mhm.
I think people are so worried, especially women. Because here's the thing, let's think about this. I talk to my husband about this all the time. Let's take a woman leader and let's take a male leader
Mhm.
and think about in their leadership roles, who do you think gets the most pushback, gets challenged the most, maybe gaslit the most,
Mhm.
and all of that? The woman.
Right.
Most times, the man that's in the boardroom, that's in the leadership role, he doesn't get but so much pushback attitude. Like some people were just never
Right.
there because there's this demeanor that a man has that he said what he said. Most people are not going to question it.
Right.
And what
And he's
I
a
found,
man.
right, and
so
he's a
so
man,
you
and
know
most men have
they're used to him.
yeah, they have this masculine energy that just, and they also don't really lead with emotion in the way that we do. Like we kind of show our emotion a little bit, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. But as in because they lead with like no emotion whatsoever, people are less likely to like push back on them or second guess their expertise or any of that. And I started to like observe that and realize like, huh. So if I can lead with confidence, as in like I'm so sure of myself and where I stand on something or where I am on something or my mind on something, that it's some things are just non-negotiable. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's how people treat me, how people talk to me, what I take or don't take from situations, experiences. But and so I think that when I started to really work on myself and decide what were my non-negotiables, what really honing on like real actual confidence, not anything rooted in my appearance, but my real confidence in myself, being sure of myself, my work, my thoughts, my mindset, and all of that, and just what I bring to the world. When I became really sure of myself, I realized like, no, it's what I said, because I was so used to in my workspace being, getting challenged, da, 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 and you have to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you step in front of, I have a team of teachers, and it's probably about 10 master's degrees on my team. It's probably 2 PhDs on my team. And, so when I step in front as an expert, I have to know what I'm talking about and be
Mm-hmm.
prepared for anticipated responses and questions and challenges and all that other stuff. So you kind of got to be 2 steps ahead. And
Right.
so in that, I have to be so sure of what I'm talking about. And I have to be very deeply rooted in what, because people will, and I'm a professional like hole poker. I will poke holes in whatever, like, are you sure? Like, are you? And I push back just because that's just how I am. And so I have to be ready for that. And so I just had to learn to be very sure in what I said. And sometimes, and what I realized in that when I take that stance is that overall, I get far less pushback. I get far less challenge. I just get far less of that. And I see other people, some that I work with or that, I'm cool with. And I see how timid they come off, or even how they say something and then they apologize,
Mm-hmm.
or they set a boundary and then at the same time maybe defend the person that they were setting a boundary for. Like, and I'm just like, well, where do you like that? All to me reads as you're not that sure, and you're not that confident in how you feel. Therefore, people are going to pick at that. It's
Right.
open season.
Yeah. And I think it's
You
twofold.
stand firm in how you feel on things.
Yeah. And just to kind of go back to the leadership thing, I think it's twofold. It's one of those like it can be the way that you present information, and it also can be biased by how we
Hmm.
perceive women and
Oh
how
yeah,
we think that
100%.
like right. We think
100%.
that they're the secretary or the
Yes,
mother of the
that's exactly it.
office.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it. That's exactly it. Which is why I work alongside many other women, but I
Mm-hmm.
can only imagine being a woman in leadership where you're in a male-dominated field.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, you
Just
know,
by just the interactions of how that gender bias can show up in our
yeah,
workspaces. And so it's like, we can do small tactics and have small tools on how to combat that and
right,
ensure that people respect us.
yeah,
Um, but it's like oftentimes we find them these challenges because they're not used to having women in leadership
yeah,
roles, or
yeah,
they're used to dealing with women who are in administrative roles and think that that's where we're supposed to be permanently. And so there's like you said, there are ways to push back against that.
hmm,
But also like that gender bias is
yep,
not, it's something that people structurally we have to have
yes,
an impact on.
yes.
But also interpersonally, we have to ensure that folks are checking themselves, especially when it comes to women leaders. But
Yes,
like
but being
the,
honest though, and talking about, because you still have to have this like warm demeanor as well, and have this quiet confidence. Well, I won't say quiet, but have this confidence about yourself. But to be honest, one part we can't skip is you still got to unpack your bullshit. Like
mhm,
you can't be a person that's like not checkable,
right,
not open to feedback, and not willing to
right,
change. So it's not always. When I say because I said so, it's because like this is how I feel about something that affects me. I'm not always right. I'm always seeking to learn.
Right.
But also be mindful of your tone when you're trying to school me. Like, as in, like, like you can enlighten me, but you don't need to demean me. Like, as in, like, my threshold for how I'm treated will always match how I treat others.
Right. And that makes sense. That's the balance. That's just, everything that we do deals with people. And with people comes like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understanding, learning,
Mm-hmm. Evolving.
missteps, errors,
Yes.
all those things. And it kind of plays into the conversation we had earlier, just about fluidity, just the ups and downs of your identity and like how you come to terms with different things. And it's just growth. Like we said, it's growth, it's learning, it's understanding, where you are right now, and understanding that your values are going to change.
Yes.
And with that being said, I'd love for you, if you have any other insights that you would want to share for us. We have a few more minutes to kind of share it. And after that, we can kind of uh, direct listeners to where they can find you, where they can engage with your content. If there's some new things that are coming up that you want to highlight, I'd love to share that with our listeners.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I just want to share with people, like you said, when it comes to your self culture, and then you know how the word curate is so popular. While you
Mm-hmm.
curating those outfits and looks, it starts from the inside. Like, I tell
That's
people all the
right.
time that you can dress as great. You could be, you could be designer down. Not that that even matters, but you can have all the latest and the greatest, and you can look so adorned and beautiful when you walk in the room. But I mean, what's a beautifully wrapped present that's empty on the inside? So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like real confidence, it illuminates from the outside. I mean, from the inside out. And I feel like, the way people perceive you, and how people feel when they are in your presence, has a
Mm-hmm.
lot to do with how you feel about yourself. And so, yes, the style is great, and the style helps you. For me, it helped me learn to love what I see in the mirror, and I have fun with it. It's my little piece of joy, but that's
Mm-hmm.
only one part of it. While you're working on your exterior, you can also be working on your interior, and the interior work is the most important. So I just highly suggest, when it comes to, if you want to make any type of mindset shift, any changes, positive changes you want to make, or any progression you want to make, I part of my recipe, or what I always suggest, is immersing yourself in that. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to improve your self culture, if you want to curate a better life, you want to rebrand, you want to start that business, you want to start to hone in on your goals, you want to rest, you want more clarity, I say immerse yourself in all those things. So podcasts like this that feed the soul, that give you give you tools in your toolbox. Um, audio books, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the thing is, all those positive things that help you see yourself in a better light, or help you become the person you want to be, or the life you always thought you wanted to live. Whatever the thing is, I just say immerse yourself in those things. And anything that is not serving you, meaning it is not in alignment with the future you see for yourself, the type of person you want to be, then it's got to go. You got
Yeah.
to distance yourself. Like,
Snip,
you got to
snip.
distance yourself. Yeah. You got to distance yourself from all the things that do not align you with your future self, or who you aim to be, or, any of that. So, that's my thing. It's just when you start to, how they say, like, I think, therefore I am. So
Mm-hmm.
and if anybody's ever seen Being Mary Jane, and how she would have the affirmations and the quotes and the scriptures or whatever all over her mirror, to me, that's like a clear example of, like, just, if it is all I immerse myself with, then eventually that's what I try to make my environment, and those are the messages I'm constantly feeding in my brain. The brain science says that you then begin to rewire your brain. So if
Right.
you are constantly downloading positive messages and affirmations to your hard drive, you think, therefore you will become. And therefore, the person you feel on the inside will start to radiate out. And now you will begin attracting, like, literally, all the things you were chasing, all the things that you desire now desire you. now are finding you. All the opportunities, all the fruitful friendships and the
Mm-hmm.
relationships and opportunities, that all is going to start to come your way because you've done the necessary work on the inside. So that's what I would leave with people. And then at the end of the day, when you do decide to do that hard launch, I woke up, I'm brand new, I'm rebranded, I'm a different person today. My mind has changed, and there's some people who won't like it. It does. So what? You said so.
Right.
So what?
Right. Exactly. I love that. I love that bow at the end. It is the perfect example of self culture because like you said, it starts with the self, that inner world. Then you can build the culture. Then you can build the art, how you adorn yourself. Then you can start engaging with the type of friends you want and all those things that you want to pull into your world. And so I really appreciate that bow. And if you are, you know, excited to learn more about Kay, you can find her on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Oh Hey Kay, and it's OHHEYYKAY.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Kay, so much for being on this podcast. You have some wonderful insights.
Thank you
And
for
on that
having me.
note, oh, no problem. And on that note, you all take care.
That concludes our exploration for today. I hope this conversation has sparked something within you. A new insight, a challenge to the status quo, or a deeper connection to your own radical vision. Remember, Charlie's Toolbox is more than a podcast. We are a cultural studio, a movement, a revolution. If you're ready to dive deeper, to access exclusive tools, and to build alongside a powerful assembly of visionary women, visit charliestoolbox.com to discover the Radical Atelier. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep crafting your sovereignty.